The 3 essentials for a very happy wormery are as follows. 1, your pH must be very, very constant. It's very important. If it gets sour, worms avoid the food instead of eating the food. They might start crawling up the sides, they are in distress, they ball together, and you don't want that. Secondly, just think boring, boring, boring. Your worms like very similar environment, very similar food source, and don't change that too much. And then the third thing is 70 to 80% moisture. I always like using a little spray gun, put a bit of honey with the water. You keep your wormery moist, it hastens the breakdown of your organic matter, and a lot of people in South Africa have very hot areas and then it's very, very cold in winter. So what a lot of people do is you just put a little blanket over it or a towel just to keep your temperature up. You can also move it into a garage where it's a bit warmer, and you'll notice that this wormery here is under a nice shady area. That's probably the best place for a wormery. Any wormeries that people are selling that are white or opaque or semi-see-through are really bad news for worms because it's stressing them continually. Worms don't like the light, so they're going to spend the majority of their time trying to move away from this light source as opposed to having a dark black wormery. Keep in mind though that it draws in a lot of heat, so you don't want your wormery where it's going to be very hot from about 10 in the morning till about 2 in the afternoon. And then just quickly jumping back to the winter scenario, what works well to increase the bed temperature is if you have grass. You can't have too much, you don't want much more than about 1 or 2 centimeters, but it acts as a really good barrier and it increases the temperature of the wormery in general. And also if you're going to mix grass with your food during the winter months, it also helps as an activator. It's a bit like baking a cake, and it helps, you know, your cake would rise with baking powder. Grass is a fantastic activator to get your other matter to break down as well. So this wormery can run for many, many years. Your Icenia fetida worm or your compost worm, if looked after well, can live for approximately 4 to 5 years, and in that time produce thousands and thousands of cocoons. Now every 3 to 4 months you'll harvest out your vermicompost, and that goes into your garden. And what's important to remember is that should your worms get overpopulated, their clitellum or their sex band flattens down and they just eat and eat and eat. What is beneficial is to split your worm stock. Most people would start over here and then move up. From there, you know, most people that start with worms, they become addicted. They're like worm junkies. So you'll start having people make bathtub wormeries, larger wormeries, community initiatives. If you have enough worms or you have too many worms, we always ask that you donate them to a feeding scheme or to a school that are having food gardens, and then just pass the worms forward. They're very beneficial, lots of fun, and also a very good way for children to start taking care and becoming aware of the green issues that we face. So that's our wormery, and she's fine.